Those of you who have read my book, Amble of the Psyche, know that I'm very, very interested in sonic warfare, in cultural assaults passed off as art, music, whatever. I first noticed that music was changing in terms of structure, key changes, alterations in pitch and tone when I first heard the band Destiny's Child, which I think Beyonce was in them. It was the late 90s. Yeah, I think it was the late 90s. Now, it wasn't a case of me not going along with musical changes in style because I'm actually very open musically, and I do like a lot of the music that came out since then. So it's not a case of me say being like being an old fucker who's not hip anymore. This was different. The intonation was very, very different. I was listening to the song. I think it was the one called Say My Name" or something like that, or some and a few songs they had like that. And there was no structure as such. It was just sort of a repetitive chant coupled with dissonant music where the beat was set and not syncopated with the chorus. Often in this music it would be syncopated with the verses, but not syncopated with the chorus. So you were thrown into a kind of phonetic state of confusion with the chorus part. And I've noticed that that's completely taken over hip hop now. What the monstrosity that hip hop has become. The It's almost like a fracturing of the internal clock and beat system of a person. A When you give a baby who's never seen a drum, the first thing they do is they bang the drum. It's an instinctual thing. It's the only. It's one of the few, along with hand clappings. It's one of the few instinctual things that children do, babies do. They're working with their internal the clock of the brain. The brain is a clock speed, and they're working with that to develop their neural pathways and express themselves. And so that's why syncopation of beat with the choruses of a song is very important. Like a classic example would be "Ticket to Ride" by the Beatles. I think I'm gonna be sad. And the whole song is like that today. And the same drum beat is used by U2 and Gloria. Gloria, and it's what makes the song so appealing. Which brings us to the band Muse. Now, as you know, I don't consider myself a truther. I want very little to do with many of the people who call themselves truthers. Not because I don't believe in many of the fundamental things they do, but hysteria is not evidence. Hysteria and infantile reactions and childlike microcosmic understandings are not a search for the truth. They're not investigations. Like, for instance, I posted something on Facebook yesterday that if you look at Malcolm X, he started out as a pimp and a burglar because a black man in America who was a decent black man had no choice and no chance. And so, what was the point in him being honest and being straightforward? That didn't exist to black men back then. And so he went out and became a pimp and a burglar. And then he had a spiritual and a political awakening in prison and became I think, one of the most amazing figures in the history of the world. And that's how he should be judged, as a man who went the wrong way, but it wasn't his fault, came back and basically changed the world for the better and was brutally murdered in front of his loving wife and family. If you were to ask a lot of truthers, particularly from the Alex Jones end, they'd say, oh, he was an Illuminati pimp and burglar. And that was the end of it. And that's why I don't really go along with the truthers, because they're hysterical reactions. They react, they don't think. Which brings us to the band Muse. I remember when all the truthers were screaming about how Muse was their band and Muse was on their side. And I first heard that song Uprising, and even David Icke was pushing it. Now, David Icke has no musical taste whatsoever. All you have to do is look at Boyzone and God knows what else. That I Choose Love song. He has no taste in music, and that's okay. Lots of people don't. But he was pushing that Muse song as well. It's absolute garbage. It's a dirge. It goes nowhere. It has this chorus that sounds like it's the rock version of the Destiny's Child effect, where dissonant tones and sounds are mishmashed, and I had a mate who had the album, and I got a loan of it, and the album actually made me feel physically ill. The Muse album that was on, and my friend too, and other people have reported that to me as well. Now, if Muse were the band of the people, of the truthers, why were they signed to Madonna's label? Why were they on tour with U2? Why were they big time? It was just a marketing ploy, just like our Russ is now your hero, okay? You never fucking stop and think, you just react, okay? This is why the truth movement is fucked. Because nobody actually sits down as a mature adult and considers the full picture. They live in the world of microcosms, infantile, reactive microcosms. And this is why the truth movement is doomed. And this is why many people like myself want nothing to do with it, and we're just going back to old-fashioned investigation. And this Muse was like that. They were all running out saying, this is the band who are going to help us overthrow the system, without actually thinking how rubbish garbage their music was. And it was atrocious. Atrocious. That was the chorus. And then the drums didn't go with, again, the lack of syncopation between the drums and the chorus, because that dissonant fracture in your mind, to make you not think straight, and you think it's wonderful. And since then, Muse have actually gone on to make fun of all the people who've supported them, initially gave them up. Again, it was the Russell Brand thing. Just like Russell Brand will stab you in the back, it will happen. I know you don't have the minds right now to think about it, but if there is anything for you to gain from being a truther, is to, for fuck's sake, try and develop maturity, okay? Wisdom. Step back and look at the full picture. Not live in spasms of reactive microcosms of infantile, reactionary behavior. Think. Just think. Calm the fuck down, okay? And that's what happens with a lot of them. And there's big money in that. There's big money in, see, if you let me, a lot of truthers have, a lot of them, because they're so impulsive, money, the big money people know this money, and this includes the conspiratorial types who are like, warning, it's coming, the war is coming, chemtrails are coming, blah, blah, and all this kind of thing. There's money in that. There's money in people's hysterical reactions, and that's what Muse's management is about, and that's what our Russell Brand's management is about. They know that your truther, infantile, hysterical reaction has a financial benefit. And so from now on, when someone tells you this is our music, or this is our comedian, or this is this, or he's in the Illuminati, or she's a shill, sit back like an adult and think about it. And the rationale I'm giving you for this is, look how you're played as a fiddle by the Muse Uprising hype.